Hey boys, welcome back to some Nrl Supercoach 2023. It's going to be the round 2 pre-lockout discussion. There's not too much to talk about because I don't almost knocked the mic off, but I don't actually think I'm making any trades. I want to, but it's just a couple of the trades I want to make are just a little bit risky, and I want another week to see. And I talked about this in the last video that it's a fine line because in the first 3 weeks you get free trades, really. Like, obviously you use the trades, but in terms of money, because no one increases, no one decreases prices, so I've always sort of tried. I don't usually go too heavy. I like to save. I don't just trade for the sake of it. It is nice to save a couple of trades early so you're not chasing your tail at the back end. But at the same point, like, it's good to shape your team in the most ideal way possible. So if you can use a couple of trades every week and to get rid of a couple of guys that you just know are not going to be any good, bring in a couple of cheapies that are going well, that is the way to do it. But it is always a bit risky to do it after round 1 because there's just things up in the air. So the dummy halves, like I said, I'm still very I'm not sold on either, really. And there's a couple of different options, a couple of different routes I'm potentially going to lean towards. So depending what happens in week 2, next week potentially we can try. I do think I'm probably going to be using a trade boost next week. I think it just makes sense. But if all things go pear shape again, depending how pear shape, we might not need to do this like straight off the jump. But what I'm thinking is Tanner Boyd. I mean, I guess potentially we could. Nah, Sammy Walker, I think I still want. But yeah, you never know. But what I'm thinking is Sonny Luke coming in for Tanner Boyd, which I'm still not completely sold on, if I'm like being honest. I don't particularly know about Sonny Luke. He's just a. Yeah, I don't know. Depending minutes, because he is not. If he gets 25 minutes again, he is not going to score 60 points every week. That is not going to happen. No matter how good people think he looks, he's not going to score 60 points in 20 minutes again. Trust me. But that's what I'm thinking. And then, how much money do we need for? It's quite a bit more. But the funny thing, well, not funny, but what'll probably happen is I'll use a trade boost, and it comes down to the back row. So if a feeder is obviously safe, Hopgood clearly safe, Teague Wilton safe, Egan Butcher, he is on the chopping block because, I mean, he was always going to be a short-term play, but he's probably safe because I'm probably leaning towards trading Butcher out for the Roosters bye in round 4. So Luke Garner, the ball is in Luke Garner's court. If he plays 80 minutes, or he plays 70 plus basically, then it's gonna be tough to trade him out. But I still think I might do it. I'm not too sure, but I can trade Luke Garner out for probably, well, there's a couple: Josh Schuster or Jackson Ford. And then if I do that, I'll have enough money just to go Brandon Smith up to Harry Grant. So I would run the Grant and Sonny Luke combination. Now, that's a lot of moving parts, and I don't know if it's actually the ideal solution. Just because, I mean, Harry Grant, he was only on like 60 points at full time. And he did get bailed out with a try in extra time. Obviously, he's an attacking weapon, so he's going to get tries. He's going to get try assists. But I'm just a bit unsure about bringing Grant in, due to the fact Origin the Storm will have their bye. I don't know when their bye is, but it'll be coming up later. So I'm not sold on it, but it does seem like it is one of the options I've been playing around with. The other one, I mean, honestly, I'm just hoping Tanner Boyd can score decently. Like, he doesn't have to get 60 plus. Like, just 50s, make a bit of cash will be nice. And then hopefully Brandon Smith can I don't know. Hopefully the Roosters... I got 4 Roosters. I need the Roosters to find form. I mean, they're taking on the Warriors, who, granted, they do have a pretty strong forward pack. So, I don't know. The Roosters forward pack, I think, is pretty weak. They might get run over, but I don't know. The Warriors playing away from home again, it is a tough matchup for them. So, hopefully Smith can just come out and kill it. So, I'm not really bothered with trading the dummy halves. The front row is obviously locked in. Tarpany, he's a keeper till the end, barring injury or suspension, depending. Christian Welsh, I mean, he's in basically till probably Origin, unless he makes a bunch of cash and we can move him up to a Tohu Harris in a bit. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Utsukamanu, I mean, he's pretty much safe as well. Like, I think he's a really solid, like, 18, 19 player that I can play if I've got a few players out with buys. He can definitely fill the spot. And I think 38, that's low. He played 50 minutes. He didn't get any... I don't think he had an offload. I don't think he had no real attacking stats. So if he's playing 50 minutes, I think 50 average is pretty doable for Utsukamanu. So I'm not worried there, but it's just nice to have that luxury of not having to play him if need be. Pele, he's definitely on the chopping block, but I mean, I can't actually afford to go to anyone of note at the moment anyway. I'll have another look at that, because there is a couple of guys. Who the hell is this? Mark Nichols, 83. He must have got a try, right? Yeah. He had a big game. Dude, Payne Haas, man. Honestly, I should just started with Payne Haas. I talked myself out of it just with the what's it called? Just the drama going on in his life. But man, he killed it. I mean, honestly, this is probably the highest scoring front row of all time. Like, you go down, I mean, 60 for Clemmer at number 13, but there's so many 60s. And then 70s, 80s, and 100 in the front row for round 1. That is unheard of. Like, the front row has always been... There's generally, like, 2 good ones. I mean, Payne Haas a couple of years ago. Tarpany's obviously come on as the best. And then, Tohu Harris was obviously a star when he was fit a couple of years ago as well. But it's never... I don't know. I feel like it's never been this high. I'm actually... Alex Twal, like, his work rate must have been insane. I don't know what happened here. 70 points? Did he start last week? I know he didn't get a try. We would have been hearing about that all for all time. Let's actually look at it. So who is of note? So Jaden Tanner, Cheapie obviously, but I wouldn't expect many minutes. I mean, he did play more minutes than Pele, which he's actually not even on the... I know he is on the bench. I don't understand. I gotta be honest, I don't understand the Pele. I know I talked about this last video as well, but what is doing with him playing 10 minutes? I don't understand. Like, literally, his 2 runs he was out there, or maybe he had one more, but the 2 runs I saw, he busted a couple of tackles and looked really threatening. And then, I don't know, did he drop a catch or he missed a tackle? And he got hooked? Like, I honestly don't understand it. It very strange to me. Like, what? Yeah, I don't know. It's just a complete waste of an interchange. But who else have we got? So, yeah, everyone else here. Well, I've got... Yeah, so I don't have enough for anyone of note. Mariota was actually really good in the trials, but obviously not getting big minutes. The Eels boys. So Ben Modoc-Masila is a very interesting one. And this is what I think... Because I'm not sold on Shaq Mitchell or Moale. I know they both scored 40s, which is fantastic for cheapies. But they I mean, Shaq Mitchell definitely had his minutes increased with Totola and Arrow going off. Davey Moale only played probably 40, which isn't a lot for two players going down. So with a full bench, I'm not that, like, I don't think they're going to make that much cash that is that necessary to get him in. Murdoch Masilla is probably the guy I'm more interested in. And the good thing with him is that he had the buy in round 1, so we can watch him this week, and then we can watch him next week, because Pele isn't, I mean, he might lose a little bit of cash if he stinks it up again. I don't know how low they can go in this Supercoach. I'm not too sure. Can they go back to 180? I'm not sure. I don't know how it works. I don't know what the minimum price is, but actually the minimum price probably, what is it, 200? Yeah, 200,000. So yeah, okay, he might lose a little bit of cash if he really stinks it up next 2 weeks, but Murdoch Masilla won't increase. I can watch him for 3 weeks to see if they actually keep him on the edge. And I mean, that's just a better option. Like, if Murdoch Masilla actually is playing big minutes on the edge, instead of Jack Bird going over there, then he's a better option than one of these middle forwards. And yeah, he might have some pretty shocking scores at times, but an edge back rower playing bigger minutes is clearly a better cash making potential than a front rower playing 35-40 and scoring 35-40 points. So that's how I see it. Obviously, the worry with Murdoch Masilla is that, and this is why it's good to, I can wait 2 weeks. Jack de Belin is out this week, which means Jack Bird is playing lock. When de Belin comes back next week, does that mean Bird goes to the back row and de Belin starts at lock? That could very well be what happens, and then Murdoch Masilla goes to the bench. He would be an absolute no-go, I think. So, one to keep an eye on. Saluka Fafita as well. So, he didn't play. This is actually nice as well. So, he didn't play last week. He's now starting with Totola out and Arrow out. He now is like Murdoch Masilla. You can watch him another couple of weeks to see if he actually gets any decent minutes. Obviously, the worry here is that yeah, Totola is probably not going to be out for that long. Arrow, I'm not too sure. So, Saluka Fafita is probably a little bit of a trap either way. Terrell May actually played decent minutes, got 36 points, but his price is already a bit awkward. He's going to increase. So, yeah, I'm not... The rest of them, not really doing too much for me anyway. So, yeah, that's pretty much that for the front rowers. So Pele, he is on the chopping block, but I think we are just going to wait a couple of weeks to see, because it's, yeah, I mean, yeah, I could trade him out for Moale next week, but is there really much need to? I mean, if Moale scores like a try and gets 70 points, okay, then I'll probably try to, because yeah, he's going to make a bit of cash pretty quickly. But other than that, it's probably not that worth it. I just hope Pele gets more minutes. Like, if he can just get, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes, like, he could actually be a good cashy, honestly, because he's got the attacking game in him. And then the back row, like I said with the plan, Fafita obviously safe. Hopgood is a god. Teague Wilton, Bryce Cartwright is safe for now, but I mean, Cartwright is I think Cartwright is his days are numbered when Sean Lane comes back, or Ryan Madison. I don't know who's back first, because I know Sean Lane, obviously, I think it was 4 to 6 weeks, and Madison is missing the first 4 games. So you never know. They might both come back at the same time. And I think, I mean, who knows? Maybe Cartwright goes for the right edge. Madison does play through the middle, and Lane on the edge. And like I said in the last video, I actually think... Like, personally, like, surely you look at the Eels team, right? And surely, when they're all fit and they're all back from whatever, Hopgood in the middle, Sean Lane on the left, and Madison on the right, rather than Hopgood, Sean Lane, and Dury on the edge with Madison on the bench. Like, surely the first option's the way they're going to go, right? Because if they actually do play Madison on the bench and through the middle, I actually think Hopgood is going to be completely fucked. He's going to be fucked because Paulo already plays big minutes. Campbell Gillard plays big minutes. You know Madison's coming on for Hopgood. So I don't know. I just can't understand why they wouldn't play Madison on the edge. The fact that they've lost Papali'i, it just wouldn't make sense to me. But you never know. So it's one to keep an eye on. Hopgood seems like he's going to be a legitimate god of Supercoach. But if Madison is on the bench, I think Hopgood's days are numbered as a genuine keeper till the end. I still think he'll make good money, but he will not be putting up big points like this again. The halves, obviously, they're set. I mean, Dewey was very good. I'm just so happy I went Dewey over Burton. It's just very nice that I watched the trials for the Dogs and just saw that Burton was dog shit. So it completely put me off Burton, because the whole preseason I was way more on board Burton than Dewey, and then those trials literally flipped me 180, so that was great. Katoa, obviously not the best play, but you know, if he gets 40 points, like he'll make some cash, and hopefully he can just jag a few attacking stats in the coming week, so we can try to you know, take advantage of the money made. And I don't know. We'll look at options to move him on to, but at the moment, if he gets in the 40s, that's fine. If you need to play him, a lot of people probably have him as their backup halfback. So when Cleary is out next week, people might have to play him. But thankfully for me, Dewey. When's a Tigers bye? I think it's not till late, which is nice. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So round 7, the Tigers bye. So that's handy. That's very handy. And also the Tigers, they got Newcastle Bulldogs. Storm will be a tough one. And then Broncos Parramatta, bit tough. So maybe I don't know if you'd trade him out, but it's nice to have the bye a bit later for sure. And then obviously Cleary, I'm sure there's heaps of people that are trading Cleary out. Well, surely not this week, because Nico Hines isn't available and Daly Cherry Evans is on the bye. So surely Cleary's not going this week. But a lot of people are, you know, they're disappointed with the score. But I'm pretty confident Cleary's going to be fine. And then Sammy Walker, I just want a couple of big scores, because ideally the plan was, and unfortunately it's up shit creek now, but I was wanting Walker to hopefully get a couple of big ones. So the plan was Walker to go pretty big in round 1, obviously Dolphins and then New Zealand. So 2 big games there I was hoping for. And then Rabbitohs, you know, hopefully he would have gone solid, pretty okay, with a decent price increase. Obviously it wouldn't be too major, but I was hoping for a decent increase. And then Nico Hines, who, you know, when it all sort of first came about, it was like he was pretty much locked in for round 2. But obviously now it's getting pushed back and pushed back. So in an ideal world, I was looking for Walker to go straight back up to Nico Hines. But we don't really know what's happening with Nico Hines, because the Sharks on the flip side, they have a bye late. Oh, they have a bye in round 6 actually, and am I on Teague? Yeah, Teague Wilton. Their draw is, well, honestly, in round 4, and this is why I was keen to get Nico Hines back in, because in round 4, even round 3, they're taking on Raiders, but round 4, Dragons, the Warriors, the Roosters, who didn't look good defensively anyway, the Dogs, Cowboys, Dolphins, Manly, Newcastle. That's a pretty good run of games. So that was the plan, but you know, it doesn't work out that nicely most times. So we'll play it by ear on the Sam Walker situation. but I do think I have to get rid of one rooster before their bye. So it's out of who doesn't perform. Brandon Smith, Egan Butcher, or Sam Walker, really. I think Tedesco, I'm pretty, I don't know, I'm pretty still safe on Tedesco, honestly. And then the backline, Val Holmes. I'm still obviously very keen on Val Holmes. I mean, the Cowboys were awful in that second half. I mean, Holmes was looking to get a big one, but they played a shocker in that second half. The Raiders had all the ball. Lockie Miller, 52. I mean, Miller's a wait and see. I mean, if he's just not getting really involved in their attacking structure, then maybe he is a guy to move on to a potential Ruben Garrick, dare I say. Because, I mean, depending how, like, this is the other sort of thing I was looking at. So if Brandon Smith goes pretty okay, Tanner Boyd goes solid, and let's say Luke Garner still in plays 50 to 60 minutes, then Luke Garner potentially straight down to Josh Schuster or Jackson Ford or another cheapie, depending. We'll see. I'll talk on Ford in a second because I'm not. I think he is actually a really big trap. But Luke Garner would trade down for some cash, and then Lockie Miller, if I could get enough cash, I would trade Miller up to Ruben Garrick. I think that would be pretty nice. Or if Luke Garner actually comes out and plays pretty well, honestly, Egan Butcher, I could see myself getting rid of Egan Butcher for a cheapie and trading Miller up, because I actually think getting Garrick in is potentially not must-have, but I think it's a pretty good option. Chance, obviously, I'm locked in. He's not going to score 70 every week, but I think he's a pretty safe 50, 45 to 50 at 300k. That's really good. And then Taruva, I mean, 39 points. Like, he's Toto-esque. Like, he takes a lot of runs. He's not he's not as big a tackle buster as Toto, but he takes a lot of runs. He's got a good work rate, and surely tries are going to come down that left side eventually. So Taruva he's a lock in. The cheapies are a worry. The cheapies are a worry. Alamotti, Cam Pereira, and Warbrick. I'm just hoping there's some tries for these guys coming up. Because I would like to upgrade them to someone better, but we'll see what happens. And then Tedesco, like I said, I'm still pretty keen on Tedesco. I'm not that worried. People are really on Tedesco about being old and slow now, but I think he'll be fine. And then Trebojevic, I mean, obviously Trebojevic is, I mean, he looked like he was limping around at times, but you know, you just gotta ride it out with Tommy Trebojevic. The team layout, so the starting team is fine. Honestly, I'm sticking with the same vice captain captaincy. Nathan Cleary vice captain, Tedesco captain. I mean, at the end of the day, I think one of these two is going to go big. I would be shocked if... I'll actually be shocked if both of them don't have big games. Like, especially Tedesco up against the Warriors. I think he's going to kill it. I think Cleary's going to score well against the Rabbits. I mean, other good options... I mean, Dewey, Tigers are taking on the Knights. Not bad. Cowboys taking on the Broncos, so that's usually a pretty high-scoring game, so Val Holmes is not a bad shout as well. And then anyone else, I mean, Dave Fafita against the Dragons. Or Hopgood. Honestly, Hopgood could be the safest 80-point captain of all time, but I don't know. I just worry about Hopgood that he played 80. He played the whole game. He played extra time as well. Like, I feel like Brad Arthur's just going to give him a spell this week. For whatever reason, I just feel it coming. So, I'd be too worried that he's not going to play that many minutes this week for whatever reason. And then, I mean, Tarpany, I think Tarpany will have a hit back, but I wouldn't be captaining him. And then the bench layout, so... At the moment, I mean, Teague Wilton, Butcher, Sam Walker all pick themselves. I know Garner is if he doesn't get big minutes, yeah, he could score shit again, but he could very easily score a try. So I'm pretty confident still playing Garne, my 17. Like, if he stinks it up, he's gone. It's not that big a deal. Like, I might miss out on 20 points or so, but I'm not that concerned. And then the fourth reserve is a tough one. So I've got Tanner Boyd at the moment. I mean, the Titans are taking on the Dragons, so it's... I don't know. I mean, I actually think the Dragons are gonna put up a decent fight and defend well. So, I don't know. Is he a good option? It seems like Kieran Foran is going to be playing, so he's going to command most of the footy. Utakamanu is probably a very safe 40, 45 points. I mean, Bryce Cartwright playing 80 minutes on an edge. It's not a bad shout. Like, he looked okay in game 1. And then, do you put it on a punt on one of the cheapies? Alamotti, the Dogs are taking on Storm, so I wouldn't do that. Khan Pereira, do you go absolutely ballsy and take it on Pereira? Because no, this is... Oh, man. I'm actually so tempted because nobody is going... Well, I'm sure people will, but so many people are going to be worried about putting Pereira in their team at all or reserve because of the 5 points. But against the Dragons, the Titans look pretty good in attack. Like, it's only a matter of time before he scores a couple of tries. So, it could be a week to take the punt. Or Warbrick against the Dogs. Also not a bad shout. But the fact that Munster and Pappenhausen are out, I don't think I could go Warbrick. I just don't see the Storm scoring that many points with their team. Or if they do, it's going to be through the middle with the big boys and Harry Grant. So I don't think Warbrick. Honestly, Khan Pereira is tempting me a lot. I mean, Katoa was there as well, but I'm not that keen on Katoa. Khan Pereira, probably Khan Pereira, Cartwright, or Tanner Boyd. I think Utakamanu, I mean, he'll probably get 45, maybe 50, but Tanner Boyd, Cartwright, and Khan Pereira probably have bigger upside potential. But I'll decide that at the end. I don't know. Should I should just go. I should just go the punt on Pereira. Honestly, like at the end of the day, I mean, it could cost me like 50 points, but yeah, it's a lot. I don't know. I'm torn. But yeah, other than that, there's not too much else to talk about. I thought there was something else I was going to mention. The other thing with this potential... Actually, I was going to look at this as well. So Miller... That's the other thing why I wanted Miller was because the Knights actually have a really good draw. Like, they had the Warriors, West Tigers, Dolphins, Raiders, Manly, New Zealand again. That's a really good opening 6. So I don't really want to trade Miller out, but yeah, I mean, Ruben Garrick. Let's have a look at the Manly Seagulls draw, because I actually think this one's a bit of a tough draw coming up, because they had the Doggies first up. Doggies come back from bye. They got Parramatta, South Sydney, Newcastle's a good one, Penrith, Melbourne. That's not great, honestly. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Garrick is a bit of a hold till after the Storm game, but I mean, with Trbojevic in the team, like he's a bit matchup proof, but yeah, we'll see how things shake up. It's a bit of a luxury. Honestly, it's a bit of a luxury trade going Miller to what's his face, Ruben Garrick. So yeah, it's probably other issues that'll come up this week. Someone will get suspended or fucking injured. So keep your head on a swivel. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully we all have a good week. Hopefully it's... I mean, honestly, it's a pretty okay week. Like, looking at most of the scores, like, everyone around that 1050 to 1200 was... Yeah, it wasn't much between a lot of people. So yeah, it was a weird week. A lot of high performers, a lot of low performers. Some people had better better than others. Some people had worse than others. So nothing to really get worried about. And it'll be good to see the second week. And like I said, there's no real need for me to make any trades at the moment. So I think we'll hold. It feels wrong to not make any trades in week 1, but there honestly is just no real reason. Actually, no, the thing I forgot. Oh my god, I almost forgot. Jackson Ford. I actually think Jackson Ford is one of the biggest traps of all time. So if we look at Garner, I think what I'm going to do, if he does stink it up again, well, even if he scores okay, but he only plays like 55, around 55 to 60 minutes, I'm probably going to get rid of him. And I'm probably just going to bring in Josh Schuster. Now, obviously, it's a bit annoying because it would have been nice to give Schuster a couple of weeks to actually see how he goes, because he hasn't played for a couple of weeks, so there's no need to rush him in, but it'll free up cash. I think Schuster he's going to be one of the best cheapies of the year, so I'm not that concerned about it. Drew Hutchison, he's on the bench. I was looking at like, what the hell is this? But yeah, he played fucking center, dude. He was playing starting center for the Roosters. What the hell is happening? But yeah, I think Schuster, because Jackson Ford, I think, is the ultimate trap, dude. Yeah, he scored 59 and 80 points, but Josh Curran is on the bench, who was an edge back rower. I know he can play lock, but they have Tohu Harris. I mean, let's quickly look at the fucking Warriors forwards for a second, shall we? Because I just think I think Ford is such a trap. Like, if you started with Ford, then I mean that's fine. Like, you've done a good job there. But trading him in now, I think it's fraught with danger. He might still make good cash, but I think he's going to be a trade out pretty soon, because if we go down to the Warriors, should have gone the opposite because I'm a damn fool. But let's look. So Tohu Harris played 80 minutes, right? Josh Curran got 4 points. He's on the bench. Josh Curran is far and away a better player than Ford. I mean, I think Ford is actually a pretty solid player, and I think he was very underused at the Dragons. But you cannot tell me Josh Curran is not a better back rower than Jackson Ford. So Josh Curran is there in the wings. I don't know if he's got... obviously, there was some dramas off field. Maybe he had a niggle. I don't really know the reasoning for what happened. Jazz Tavanga is back potentially next week, maybe the week after. He will come onto the bench for sure, and he will play through the middle. Adam Fanor-Blake and Mitch Barnett, both big minute props. Dylan Walker is on the bench, plays through the middle. Niokore, it's an interesting one because he's on the other edge, but he played like 59 minutes, but he definitely went... I don't know. I honestly didn't really see Niokore at all. And then you got Jackson Ford, who played the 80 minutes. Now, potentially, what could happen, I don't think it will, but what could happen is Josh Curran finally gets a start and Niokore goes back to the bench and Moore just plays through the middle, and Jackson Ford and Curran are their starting back rowers. But I can't see that happening because their starters are Fanor-Blake, Barnett, and Tohu Harris. Harris plays 80 minutes. Obviously, they don't need him to play 80 minutes, but they're better when he's out there for 80. So then you've got Niokore, you've got Bunty Afoa, you got Dylan Walker, and Jazz Tavanga all going to take minutes through the middle. Jackson Ford has to lose minutes. Like, I can't understand. I honestly couldn't see how that would happen. I honestly couldn't. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe Jackson Ford does keep that big minute role in the back row, but I cannot see it. I cannot understand why Curran would not get the start in the back row. And yeah, I mean, I know Niokore maybe doesn't keep the spot and Curran goes for him. Maybe Curran just stays on the bench, but Curran's not going to come on and play lock over Tohu Harris for more than 15 minutes. So Curran probably comes on through the back row. And yeah, maybe he just takes Niukore's minutes, but are you really going to play Curran 20 minutes a game? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So that is my rant on Jackson Ford. This week will be an interesting one to see because, yeah, I'm going to keep a close eye on what they actually do with their forward pack. I watched the game, but I wasn't really watching how they were using their, like, Niokore and Curran too closely. So I'm going to keep a good eye on it. I mean, if Jackson Ford does come and looks potential, yeah, he would be a nice cheapie downgrade for sure. But I'm very cautious because I don't want to trade him in and then all of a sudden he's on the bench and I got to trade him straight out. So I would say if you're looking to bring Ford in, just be very cautious. If you started with him, like I said, I think that was a great tip, a great pickup because, yeah, if he goes back to the bench, he loses minutes, that's fine. He'll make you a bit of cash. You can trade him out. That's what happens at the start of the year. But I'd just be very worried about bringing him in at this stage. Give him another week for sure. Don't bring him in this week, in my opinion. But other than that, hopefully guys are enjoying the Supercoach action. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.